Hey, this is the RC Dabbler and welcome to my channel. Welcome to this video. I got a little something that I found on sale at Banggood.com, and this was on a flash sale, lightning deal type jig, and it looked kind of cool. The body and cage is what appealed to me. It's toy grade. It's the 609E. Maybe that translates to something else. Anyway, this looked kind of cool, and it's kind of corny. It's a toy grade RC, but the body and cage looked kind of neat. And if it proves to be as strong as it seems, then I'll just drive the thing until I strip the cheap gears or something, or just go ahead and yank the axles and everything off of it, and maybe implement some Wraith-based, AR60 axles and an AR60, or a basic AX10 transmission, and some drive shafts and links and shocks, and turn it into a just a bigger crawler. It says it's 1/8 scale, but this box does not inspire me to believe the claim that it's 1/8 scale. But I'm going to tear into it. I'm not going to do this whole unboxing thing. I'm just going to go ahead and rip open the box and pull it out. I don't have my tripod, my big tripod that I can set my camera on, so I'm going to pause this and then I'll get back to it. All right, well, here we go. This is how it came in the box. The little plastic sheet protecting the wheels on that side, and on this side was just, it's zip tied in, probably underneath as well. Yeah, so it's zip tied in with some little plastic plates. Okay, here's the beans and cornbread. This feels pretty cool. It doesn't feel that bad. I mean, it's pretty firm plastic. And that feels a little weak. What's holding the part that's holding the headlights on, that little front, is a little flexy, but not much different than an Axial, an old Axial Wraith or whatnot. Even currently, I mean sorry. Okay, it's not too bad. Let's feel this back here. There's no flex there. It's very well structured. Man, this is kind of funny. I saw this in the video from someone else who filmed this, an unboxing. It's kind of stupid. It's like this tiny little wheel. It's like a really small 1.9, or almost like a 1.55 size tire and rim. It's funny. And this is like a normal 2.2. This would be the size of a 2.2, like the size of the stock wheels on the Red Cat Wendigo. I would say it's about the same size as the wheels and tires on the Wendigo. Now, it's toy based, so it's just got little Phillips screws in there, if you can see that. Yep. It's just got little Phillips screws holding it in. It's not like it's not a 12mm hex, like what you would get with a hobby grade, and neither would I expect it to be. The shocks are plastic, cheap springs, and I think the shafts might even be plastic. I mean, look at the play. I'm not talking about the spring play, but there's a lot of play in the actual shock. You can't see it, but what else we got? What else we got? Cheap little radio, little charger, and it came with little nickel cadmium. Oh, we're going back to the 80s and 90s here. Look at this, NiCad, cool. This is the kind of battery you got to run all the way down and charge it all the way back up, and then run it all the way back down like several times before you get the full capacity of the battery. Nice. This is cool. A little trip down memory lane here. All right. So let me get some wire cutters, and I'm going to cut the zip ties and pull this thing on the rest of the way out, and maybe we'll do some measurements, or just I got some 20mm or 120mm shocks that I want to match up to it and see. I want to get some real shocks for it, but I don't even know what I'm going to be using this, if I'm going to be, you know, just trying to maintain these axles, or just yank them out, you know, drive it until it breaks or something, and then just put in some real axles. Because the mount, if the mount is strong enough, and if I can fit a a standard hobby grade shock cap shock mount there, if I can mount some regular shocks, then yeah, that doesn't look like 120 millimeter shocks. Those look like maybe 100, 110. We'll see. So, I mean, this is all cheap. You know, the links are kind of standard, kind of a real basic cheap link. I'm not concerned about that really. I want to get this thing out and just get it running and just see what it's like. All right, so we got it out and got everything separated from it, and this is what it looks like without being attached to anything. It's pretty cool. This could probably get tossed, maybe, I don't know. Once again, goofy little 1.55 wheel thingamajig. It's got lights in it already, which is a bonus. Get the nice view in the background there. Yeah, kind of blends right in. Sweet. All right, so it's kind of funny here. It's motor on axle. You know, it's a toy grade. It looks kind of cool. I mean, it's not that bad looking. It looks, you know, the plastic is cheap. It just, yeah, it feels kind of cheap, and these cheap little links and whatnot, but it's a toy. It's got a, I'm not sure the size of the motor. I think there's the steering. The steering motor is in there, I believe, and I'm not sure what type. It's not a 540. I don't think no, it's not. They don't give you a 540 motor in there. That is, what is that, a 3? It might be a 370. I would think at least a 370 for something that they're going to call a 1/8 scale. But see, it's not proportional steering. It's got that. That's how you adjust your steering points. I think if it gets yeah, your steering trim is a little manual dial, but it does look like a 370 motor in there, dual motor, so it's 4-wheel drive, open diff. You know, it's not like a real lock diff or anything. It's just going to be kind of cheesy. You're not going to be able to really climb anything with it, or even crawl. It's just kind of a, you know, you put it on the ground and you let it rip, and just probably goes about 5 miles an hour. It should be fun. You know, it'd be like a little trail truck for a kid, but like I said, I didn't get it because of the performance. I got it because I thought this cage might be kind of cool. Now, this is not real big. That's only about, hold on, let's get a measurement here. If we're going to do it, let's do it right. About a 13. Yeah, it's about a 13-inch. About a 13-inch wheelbase. And the tracking, it's about 11 inches, a little over 11, about 11 1/4. It's about 11 1/4 inch tracking width. Got pretty good ground clearance. Yeah, it's about 4 to 5 inches ground clearance. Well, from the center, not from the axles, but from the skid plate. Now, here's what's cool is I'm thinking you might be able to drill. You might be able to take this skid plate out. No, man, that skid plate it's fixed. It's all molded in together. This is not a removable skid plate. I suppose you could try. I need a screwdriver to pop that plate out. I just kind of wondered if you could turn it into an AX10 skid plate, and, you know, on the upper side, because what is up in here? I mean, if there's no, that's your battery compartment. So there's a battery, that's your battery compartment inside there. So you might be able to take this whole skid, you know, center skid battery holder out. And it seems like you might have to cut with a Dremel and a saw or something up through there so that you don't lose this plate right here. And then you could take a Wraith. This is about the size of a Wraith skid plate. I have a Wraith. It looks almost the same width, you know, the same dimensions as a Wraith skid plate. So you might be able to do something with that. You might be able to cut this whole thing out and put this over, screw some holes, drill some holes and screw in a Wraith plate with a Wraith transmission or an AX10 transmission, whatever works for the length of your links to keep the wheelbase right. And if you put AR60 axles on it and whatnot. So I think it's doable. I don't know if it's worth it. The cage looks kind of cool, but it's not as big as a Wraith. I don't think the width of this, I don't have my Wraith is all boxed up. I don't want to pull it out right now, but I might at some point pull my Wraith out and do a comparison, but it's not as long as the Wraith, and it's not as wide. This is not as wide as a Wraith, so let me, I might run in real quick and get my Wraith out. I don't know if I have any wheels on it though, but let me see. All right, I went and grabbed my Wraith, dug into my shop and got my Wraith out. So if you look, you can see that the cage is wider, it's bigger, a little more robust on the Wraith. This is, yeah, it's kind of tiny, and it's not as long. Almost, no, yeah, it's about, let's do some measurements. Let's do some measurements if we can. Actual cage. 16. I'm getting about 16 inches length from the actual front, not the bumper, but the actual front, the squared front of the Wraith cage to the rear bar is 16 inches, and I'll do the same for this. Kind of hard because it's all curvy. It looks, just eyeing it, is about 15 or 14 3/4. So it's a little more than an inch shorter, and the width, see, at the widest point on the Wraith, it's 6.5 inches. The widest point on this is about almost 6 inches, more like 5 3/4. So 5 3/4 to 6.5. So it's about 3/4 of an inch narrower than the Wraith. So, but see how, if you look at the Wraith, I mean, it looks almost, it's almost identical. See, it looks a lot alike. It's just not as wide and dimensions are different, but it kind of mimics a rock racer, or just a rock racer trail truck. But my opinion is the cage is worth, if you get this on a flash deal, I wouldn't pay like 60, whatever the normal price is, $65 or something. I wouldn't pay that. I don't think I'd pay that, but if you get it for like $35, $40, I think is what I paid for it, I think it's worth that. Just for the cage alone. The cage is pretty nice. You could put, you could drill, well, you'd have to drill holes. There are cavities in there for LEDs, but there's no removable. Well, you might be able to take it apart, but you'd still have to probably drill holes, drill out those the backside there, in order to put LEDs, and there are some openings in the top panel to run your wires down through. So I don't know if that was a forethought that they considered and they would kind of help you out there, or what, but you could probably remove this whole apart and actually maybe put a scale light bar. Maybe that's what they were intending. It is removable, this light bar here. You can see there's 2 Phillips screws holding that light bar in on each side. So you could remove that and probably put another, you know, more scale light bar, one that's already lit with LEDs or something from an aftermarket. And this is already, it already has LEDs, but they don't have, as you can see, you can just see the chip. You can see the chip inside there, the chip board and whatnot, you know, the resistor and all that jazz. So it doesn't have an aluminum, you know, like a metal, chrome plastic, you know, bucket inside there. It's just a black plastic bucket. You could probably take that apart maybe and put some aluminum tape, aluminum foil type tape in there to make it shiny. But well, at least it comes with a light. I think it's kind of cool. I think any toy, definitely any kind of an RC truck, whether it's toy grade or hobby grade, should have at least headlights on it. I think it's only right in this day and age, and with the technology level that we're at in the hobby. Just in general, I think every RC truck, whether RTR or whether hobby grade RTR or toy grade or whatnot, should come with some kind of LED light on it, just for, you know, just for the pleasure of it. The fun factor makes a good selling point. I'm liking the cage. I am liking the cage. You know, it's got, well, the scale drivers they're not quite the right size. They look the right size, but they look much smaller. They look almost the size of a Star Wars action figure, like a little 4-inch, not a typical 7-inch figure that we would put in like a Wraith or something. So it's a little off, but at least it's there, and you don't have to add that. I wouldn't bother myself. I probably wouldn't bother messing with that. I don't get into all that scale detail, but okay. Well, I hope you've enjoyed. I hope this has been worth watching. If not, I don't care. You know, you can thumb it down if you want. No one else. There's not going to be too many videos on this truck, and I thought I would get it and post a little footage of it, and I'll probably do a little running around with it here soon if I can get if the battery's not dead. I'll put it in and run it. All right, peace.